What is up, guys? So today what I want to do is talk about the pre-Tina event and talk to you guys about what I'm actively doing to prep for the upcoming Capture Festival for Tina, and also kind of suggest some things for you guys depending on where you are in the game. Now, here's why I want to make this video. So I don't know exactly where everyone is who watches my videos, where you are in the game. But some of you may or may not have gone through a hardcore exotic farming event. We have not had a hardcore farming event for quite some time. I don't even remember the last time we had one where I felt like it might be difficult to make both light and dark for some people, or I guess in this case it's because you do really want to make both light and dark. In most exotic events, it doesn't seem that hard, but in this particular event, in the Tina event, it doesn't look like we have Nat5s to kind of bolster, the Evo 3 of your light and dark monsters. Also, neither the light nor the dark Tina is hidden behind a paywall. And so since you have the option of actually getting both of them through farming, it does make them more attainable and therefore, pretty much, more of a challenge to actually get the 16 monsters per evolution to get both of them up to Evo 3. Now, last year, the Sierras were the same, and during the Sierra event, they were kind of piloting some different, it seems like they were beta testing some ways to kind of make the exotic farming events more accessible to more people, because I think there have been some complaints about people who, from people who felt like, in the past they weren't able to farm enough monsters, like back in the day, in the old times of MSL, people weren't able to get light and dark Jack when they first came around. People weren't able to get light and dark Snowy. So there were a lot of complaints about exotic farming in the early days of MSL. And so they've really, 433 has really tried to make it easier on a larger majority of players, when it comes to the exotic farming. And so what they were beta testing on us last year was having the Sierras drop as part of your as part of your kind of having active friends. And so if your friend kind of happened to find a Sierra dungeon, you could make use of the Sierra dungeon in order to, earn a few soul stones. Now the thing about that, and I kind of talked about this at the time, was that you had to actually have active friends who had the same goal as you, which was non-stop farming for Sierra, and in order to pick her up. If you did not maintain active friends, you definitely were going to have a much lower chance of getting your monsters to Evo 3. And the other thing is, with these events, is because they're fusion reliant. Now, honestly, I don't remember whether the fusion for the Sierra had to be an Evo 3 light. I think it had to be an Evo 3 light, but it might have been Evo 2. But if it's an Evo 3 light that is required in order to make the Evo 1 dark, then that means you actually have to make 3 Evo 3 Sierras. And I highly doubt they're going to do that, guys, because people just complain so much about these events. So more than likely, I think there will be an Evo 2, but there is a possibility it'll be Evo 3 required, in which case you will have, your goal really will be to make 3 Evo 3 monsters, but I think it's going to be an Evo 2. But so that makes things more difficult in the number of exotics that you actually have to pick up. And so, what you want to do, and what they have done is, they've introduced the Lupin dungeon. So as opposed to the friend soulstone dungeons that we were getting before, now we have the Lupin dungeons, and I highly doubt we will have the friend dungeon event that they piloted on us last year. I think the Lupin dungeon here is going to make up for that. Now, of course, we don't know how many stones we're going to get, or I haven't seen anything. There might be some notification out there, but I haven't seen anything. But I wouldn't be surprised if we got enough to make an Evo 3, enough stones to make an Evo 3 light, or maybe 1 or 2 lights. But you do have to farm, guys. And so in order to prep for farming, what I've been doing, because we just came out of a clan festival, is I've been doing pretty much nothing but golems and story mode. So golems and sliming. You have to have a nice reserve of astrogems for this event, because you've got a few things that are reliant on you regularly farming story mode. So you need to also make the 15 clues every day from the Livin dungeon, because that's what's going to help boost the number of Tinas that you have, right? So at a minimum, you do need to do the 15. You need to get your 15 clues, and you can even save those up close to the end or whatever, but you need the 15 per day. The other thing is you need the astrogems, because in running non-stop story mode, you're not going to have a lot of time to create astrogems through farming, through doing this method now. So having a good reserve of astrogems in order to replenish your dwindling supply as you kind of, go through story mode, to try and catch Tinas when the event starts, you'll be thankful for having a nice supply of astrogems. Yeah, so those are two things that are highly important right now: is getting your Livin clues every day, 15, getting a supply of astrogems, and even if you don't use all of them, having astrogems, is always helpful with whatever you do, even if you save them for another clan festival. I wiped all mine out during clan festival, so I was pretty much going from almost 0 to wherever I'm at right now. Yeah. And so the other thing, guys, is you want to start thinking about where you're going to farm, what your farming team is. Now, I'll probably do another video on speed farming tips for Tina, because those were popular last year. But yeah, so you need to know what your farmers are, which generally are going to be your moral boost monsters. So if you've been doing clan, hopefully you've gotten enough to summon Siegfried, and hopefully you've got a fire Siegfried. He's not crit reliant, so he's a good monster to help boost the speed in your farming teams. So definitely look for your moral boost monster. Another one that that at a low level you can do is if you happen to have or summon a fire Raditz. That's helpful. And at a minimum, you guys can use your Monas to kind of help hopefully boost the speed. Now they have very low SP gain, but honestly, guys, it's better than nothing. And you can always test out throwing your Sparket in there, or if you happen to have a dark Sparket, just seeing if he helps your speed a little bit. Yeah, and the other thing is you should know where you can farm the fastest, and you do need to increase the capture level wherever you're going to farm for Sierra. It could be multiple places, but your capture level on those areas should be maxed out. Unfortunately, you guys don't. I know I said you need to dedicate your gold to astrogen farming, but it's really detrimental to have a Sierra, to have an exotic, a Tina pop up, and not catch it. And the way you increase your chances of catching it, of course, is increasing the capture level on wherever you're farming at. So it's just the nature of the game. It's all based on probability, right, guys? So yeah, so I think that's all I have to say for today. Increase your capture level, guys, on the place you're going to farm. Figure out what your farming team is going to be based on your best moral boost monsters that you might have. If you've got a light Leo, just throw him in there with some attack gems, even if you're using him in a different way, maybe more tanky. The Wood Rudolph is a good moral booster. Definitely Rudolph if you've been playing long enough to have access to her. The Vamp, I'm not looking. I know I pulled him up here. Can't remember what his name is, but he's a good one. He's the wood one. He's hard to build because he is crit reliant. So whenever he doesn't crit, he's pretty useless in terms of farming. But otherwise, yeah, there are a number of other moral boosts. Just look through your box and see what you have, see what you have access to. Everyone at least has access to a Mona. Yeah, and definitely you guys also, the other point is you guys also need to earn your Lupin clues. That's definitely necessary to pick it up. And lastly, participate in the event wishes. So press that button whenever you get on whenever you see your ship where it says Capture Festival, and just type something in. You can say, you know, SaberFoxArt YouTube best or something. I usually just type I or something like that. But definitely do that, because it means we get more tickets. If we get more tickets, then there's a greater chance of you pulling something, a good jackpot, which, you know, might be a Tina. So all those things, guys, are going to help you prep for the event, and hopefully it wasn't too jumbled and you guys got something out of that. But yeah, guys, so hopefully that helped, and definitely like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Turn on your notifications if you want to know when I post a video, and leave me a comment. Tell me what you guys think of anything I said here, the Tina event, whatever you want, and I will see you in the next video.